3 words for you. Treat yourself.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk about all the things that I really want. This is just a little off-the-wall, fun kind of video where I just thought to myself, there are so many action figures that I really want, but I probably won't buy. And I wonder if you guys have that same thing where you've always got these little back burner figures in the back of your mind where if you ever got a scratch card on the lottery and you were like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna treat myself. It's those action figures, and I got a whole list of them. Want to hear them? Here it goes.
Treat yourself!
Hold that thought for a second, because I have a perfect example. After filming that video, all the stars came into alignment and boom! This is what I'm talking about. I have had this guy on my back burner type list for the longest time, especially because I missed the initial release, so it was going to have to be secondhand. Therefore, I was like, I'll get to it at some point, because I thought he looked gorgeous. And I'm building up my Mezcos, but he was always one of those nice to have, but don't desperately need to have. But ooh, it was full on in excess. It was like, ooh, I want you, I don't know if I need you, but ooh, I'm dying to find out. And yeah, I did find out. I definitely did need him. He's so good, man. And the reason I got him was because I think I mentioned later in this video, if I ever have like some good luck, like a new contract. I got a new contract, so I was like, you know what? Treat yourself. So to celebrate that, I went and I got myself an Iron Fist, and I'm so glad I've got that song in my head now. Anytime I need to see your face, I just close my eyes, and I am taken to a place where your cares don't lie, like a gentle breeze in the sun, ba-dubby-dubby-dubby-dubby-chicka-chiricoola. It's just a 90s banger, that one. But yeah, perfect example right there. Had some good fortune, celebrated with a figure that I maybe wouldn't have otherwise got. The only problem with this is now I'm like, oof, I got Mezco Iron Fist, I got Mezco Moon Knight, I got Mezco Daredevil. Now, what if I just got a full-on, street nighttime vigilantes? They got a Blade, they got a Morbius, they got the Punisher. How much would those guys cost? Nope, I'm good. I need to get a much bigger contract before I got those guys. But still, this one, I'm so happy I finally got to add him to the collection. This guy's awesome.
Treat yourself.
First up, this is kind of a quirky one. This is an RC from Transformers action figure, but it's kind of a model kit as well. And that's where I kind of draw that line where I'm like, how model kitty are we talking about? Because I can't tell if it's fully painted or not, or like the pictures being shown, is that what it looks like? If you guys are familiar with this, help me out, because I love this reinterpretation of RC where it's been kind of cheesecaked, kind of sexified. I mean, what self-respecting 40-year-old man doesn't like a sexy robot? I ask you. But I just don't want to commit the money to buying it and then opening the box and being like, oh, this is an unpainted model kit. I can do nothing with this. So I'm still trying to suss out the hows and the whys with how this works. But I'm really tempted to just like roll the dice and give it a go, because personally, I love Transformers 86. That is just one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies of all time. Not even a guilty pleasure. The movie's fantastic. And so a cool modernized version of RC, I would really love to have her on the shelf.
Treat yourself.
Then speaking of robots and mecha, a big one, which again is actually too big. It would have to be quite a lottery scratch card win to get this one. Mecha Leonardo. I featured this on the channel recently because it looks incredible. As far as an action figure goes, I love these reinterpretations where you take something you're familiar with and then make a new, unique kind of version of it. A giant mech Ninja Turtle. God, it looks the bomb, man. It looks so cool. But also the problem is, first of all, it's well over $100. And the second is, you think you're going to be able to buy just one? Obviously not. Because the other ones are only going to look cooler. And you're going to think, oh, well, all of a sudden that goes from $100 to however much it is times 4. That's going to start to be a slippery slope. It really is. But I love to just look at this and go, maybe if I was feeling super flush, if I got a new contract or something, I might want to reward myself. Because this dude, that would be one heck of a reward.
Treat yourself.
This next one is what I always talk about with the art of action figures. Damn toys. Homeless Joe. Homeless Joe. That's the voice I have for Homeless Joe whenever I see this figure. Just looks like artistry, looks like stop motion animation puppets. That's what this thing kind of, that's what it brings out. I think of like a Wes Anderson type movie, and just gloriously beautiful. The amount of intricate little work that's gone into this. This is higher up. I should have ranked these. Actually, maybe I'll do that when I actually do this video. So I haven't put them in a ranking in my mind yet. But looking at Homeless Joe, in every different photo, you see something new, some little detail that's been put on there just to make it feel like it's from a living world. It just looks amazing. I've got this wonderful kind of headcanon of like a post-apocalyptic world where robots, just are trying to imitate humans, and this is a Homeless Joe robot just living his life, doing his robot thing, and I just think it's so beautiful.
Treat yourself.
And now we have one I'm sure I will be getting. It's McFarlane's Bane.
Who doesn't have a Bane voice? Well, pretty much everyone has a Bane voice, but not everyone has a Bane action figure, because us over here in the UK, we're still waiting for our Bane action figures. However, I am going to Comic-Con this weekend, so by the time this video comes out, maybe it'll be out of date. Maybe I will actually have a Bane action figure, because Bane, my favorite, I was trying to say Batman. My brain first went Spider-Man, and then I went, no. Superman, no. Batman. You can tell I'm a huge DC fan. But Bane is my favorite Batman villain. And this McFarlane version looks like the ultimate kind of Bane figure. Maybe a little bit too big for your standard 6-7 inch figures, but I still don't mind. This is a monstrous looking Bane. He does look great. He doesn't have, I think, fist hands, which is a bit of a shame. I'm trying to picture him in my mind while I talk about this. I think it's just the open hands, which they're still cool, but it'd be nice to be able to play about with it. But to be able to pose him with my 20th anniversary Captain America and recreate the fight in Marvel vs. DC, again, 90s nostalgia, can't beat that. And speaking of 90s nostalgia, Cyborg Superman from Mafex. Oh man, I love me some evil cyborg doppelgangers, and this is so 90s. It looks fantastic, and Mafex, it looks like they've done an incredible job with the chrome of that Terminator-looking skeleton. Looks so wicked, so badass. But you know Mezco, Mafex, both of them really, always carry heavy, hefty import price tags. And this is no different. So for something that's just like more of a whim, I probably don't need to go down that route. Especially because it looks like McFarlane might be moving more in that direction as well. We're going to be getting a Superboy from that era very soon. So hopefully they might do a full reign of the Superman kind of line. And if that's the case, then hopefully there'll be a McFarlane Cyborg Superman in my future.
Treat yourself.
Over on Marvel Legends, you know what? I have a sneaking suspicion that Mojo 4-pack is going to go on sale real quick. Because I don't know how or why it happened, but all of a sudden we've got the single release Mojo just out in the wild. So I don't know how many people are going to want to spend over $100 on that 4-pack just to get Longshot Dazzler and a little chibi cartoon Wolverine. I don't think it's going to be a big seller, because people are just going to get the single release Mojo. I'm sure that was a mistake on Hasbro's part, and now they got to live with it. And you know how you're going to live with it? By putting that 4-pack on sale, baby. Because if I see that going for like, where it equates to about $10 a figure, kind of like the Wolverine 5-pack went for a while ago, I'd be hard pressed to ignore that. Because just Mojo, just to go with like my aliens or whatever, he'd be so much fun. I think I would have to get him. Over in NECA now with the Shaman Predator. The problem with the Predators, or NECA in general, are they're expensive. You know, it's a lot of money to spend on a whim. This is going to be probably about 40, 45 bucks. And I have one Predator already. I thought I'll just get one Ultimate Predator for the collection, and that's the Alpha Predator. He looks amazing. But this Shaman Predator with the bone mask, like, oh, you're winning me over. What's that I can see? Some cloth goods as well. Ooh, that might be difficult to resist if I see it in person, and hopefully I will do soon. He must be hitting store shelves soon. I've not seen him in the wild yet, but give it time. Also, because they're going to be doing the Feral Predator from Prey, he's going to be coming out at some point. Having those two dudes with their bone masks flanking the Alpha Predator on the shelf, oh, you can see I'm selling myself on it already. Now, this is an unusual one. Something Dragon Ball. That's very nebulous, but I think SH Figure Arts, they do some beautiful Dragon Ball figures, but I've never picked any up because I don't have any reverence for Dragon Ball myself. But people have said so many great things about these figures, and also the property just seems so much fun. So I would love to get just one, just to have it on the shelf, have it represented in the collection, but A, I don't know which one to go for, and B, they're a lot of money. So it's, again, one of those ones that will always be on the back burner, always be in the back of the mind. And maybe one day I might see one for sale in one of the Facebook groups, one going cheap or one out in the wild. And I'll think, you know what, Dave? Today's the day. You know, over the last year, I've really got into Mezcos. And because of that, I've been wanting to one day add a roach to my collection. I never got it at first. I was like, why? You got these cool, badass looking bodies and figures, and then you're sticking like an ant head or a cockroach head on there. Like, I don't get it. And then over time, I was like, no, actually, you know what? That is kind of cool. So I thought to myself, the next time they do a new Gomez figure, boom, I'm going to pick him up. And then they've announced the Worker Union Gomez. And I was like, maybe not that one, though. I don't know, the dungarees and overalls look, it wasn't too exciting for me. I was hoping it would be something more kind of cool or badass, you know, like the samurai Gomez. But this just the working dude, the attention to detail they've put in this figure, like, it looks beautiful. Looks like a really great job. But I'm just like not sure if it's gonna excite me enough to want to roll the dice on it. But still, I want one of those roaches, man. I want one real bad. I'm not going to buy one of the old ones because they're super expensive, but this one, I think I might pass.
Treat yourself.
But one thing Mezco that does have my attention is their Predator figure. The Mezco Predator, again, it's a licensed Mezco figure. When are we ever going to see that? But it does look glorious. I mean, the NECA Predators are one thing, but Mezco, that's like another step up the tier rankings there, and looking at the details and all the different pictures. I mean, I know, of course, they're photography catalog type pictures. Of course he's going to be looking his best, but man, he really, he does look his best. Looks amazing. Looks like such an incredible Predator figure. I'm a huge fan of the Predator franchise. Maybe to have one ultimate Predator to represent that, especially Jungle Hunter, the most classic one, that again is always just on the periphery of my to buy list. Here's one I'm really agonizing over. Mafex Storm. I just don't know. I've got the Marvel Legends Storm, and she's decent, but also I ripped her cape. And like I'm looking at her now. You can't even really see the rip, but I know it's there. It kind of kills me. So I would love to replace her with a more zhuzhed up high-end Storm to go in that glorious Sentinel display with all the different lines. But at the same time, it's a big price tag for a figure that, just at a glance, you wouldn't really notice the difference that it's Mafex and not Marvel Legends. So I would love to have that more high-end looking figure. I really would, because I've got Jean and Psylocke. So it would make sense to have Storm as well, but I can't quite justify it unless maybe I get a nice scratch card. I'm definitely going to buy a scratch card after this. As much as I love pro wrestling, I've never really dabbled in the figures all that much. But one of my favorite, most iconic matches is WrestleMania 7's match between the Ultimate Warrior and the Macho King Randy Savage. And they have got a new Ultimate Warrior WrestleMania 7 figure. And that costume that he wore was just so bright, so colorful, just an explosion to the senses. And I think to immortalize that in action figure form, because it wasn't just normal Warrior. It was big, massive, multicolored jacket Ultimate Warrior. I'd be really tempted. Again, he's one of those ones where if I see him in the wild, I might be tempted to pick him up. I probably would, just because the nostalgia of WrestleMania 7 with the awesome, bright, colorful costume, that's very hard to resist. Going back to the Mafex now, and Mafex Nightfall Batman. I was talking earlier about Bane, I was talking about Reign of the Supermen. It's that 90s nostalgia where even though it's DC, it still permeated 90s culture so much that it's a huge part of my childhood. That re-envisioned look at Batman. I think I remember seeing on a TV show they were talking about how comic book characters were being redesigned in the 90s, and they showed this mechanized Batman, and I was like, whoa, what is that? Because I wasn't even reading comics back then, but that caught my imagination. And Mafex, you know they're going to be doing a pretty job of it. I like the McFarlane one, but the colors feel a bit flat to me. Whereas this one looks more metallic, like it really is a robotic piece of armor, and that looks great. But again, high-end Mezco price tags, not sure if I can justify it, but boy, it's right there in consideration.
Treat yourself.
Back over to Hasbro now, and Indiana Jones. Dude, one of their newest showpiece lines. The single figure sold out instantly online, at least where I shop from. I'm sure you can still find him in different places. I didn't pull the trigger, and I haven't yet, but again, it's one of those ones where if I see him in the wild, that might be a different story. Because I don't need a whole Indiana Jones set. I don't need Marion and Belloc and everyone else, but just Dr. Jones. The icon, the 80s nostalgia. Indiana Jones, I think that would be really fun to have. And I'd love to see just how they've put this figure together, the mechanics of it. I imagine it's like going to be more G.I. Joe than it is Marvel Legends, but I don't know, somewhere in the middle. What's the Harrison Ford likeness going to be? I'm really intrigued. I bet it's just going to be a very pretty package. I think it's just going to look lovely, and that's one, yeah, I would definitely go for if I saw him in person. Holy moly, Cthulhu. We have no idea how much this is going to cost. It's still in development right now, but boy am I watching it closely. As a giant, terrifying monster to have on the shelf, yeah, I could be very tempted. But you know we're going to be well into the 3 figures for this guy. But you should be, because he looks like he's going to be a beast. So I think I'll probably blink. In the game of action figure chicken, I'm going to swerve. I probably won't get him, but I would be tempted again. If it's a good day, or more to the point, if it's a bad day, y'all need to cheer yourself up a little bit. Might have to treat myself to a Cthulhu. we'll see. It all comes down to finances, as well, you know. But this is one that I'm watching so closely because, man, I think that might be something quite special.
Treat yourself.
And similar to Cthulhu, there's Dinosaur Guy. I'm going to have to check probably the The Amazing review. I remember seeing him on there, but loads of people have reviewed him. But I can't, off the top of my head, think of the name or the manufacturer. But anthropomorphic dinosaur in battle armor, yeah, you don't need to be sold on that very much. Just look at it. It looks so cool, so much fun. Throw in with your Mythic Legions type characters, bit of sword and sorcery. Absolutely badass. The details with the paintwork and the scales look so awesome. That's one. He's, again, doing like the ranking, he would be near the top. Something new to go in the Galactus display, the Revoltech Black Panther. Man, I'm not even like a huge Black Panther fan, but this figure with the claws and slashing effects, the dynamic poses you can put him in, and also the fact that he is pretty much a staple A-list Marvel character now, he needs to be represented in that Galactus display. But having said that, because I'm not a massive Black Panther fan, it's a lot of expenditure for a character that I'm not hugely invested in. But the lack of investment can be bolstered by the fact that he just looks awesome. So for that reason alone, I'm very tempted. Sticking with Revoltech, also Deadpool. I realized when I was making my Galactus display, I don't own any Deadpool figures anymore. I only had a couple of Marvel Legends ones and I ain't got them no more. So there's a Revoltech one, there's also a Mezco one. Unfortunately, they're both pretty expensive. So really, I'm just looking at a Deadpool-shaped hole in my Marvel Legends display, but I don't know what I'm gonna fill it with. I think there might be a new Revoltech one coming out, like a second version of their original one. That might be the one to go for. But again, it's one of those big expenditure things where it's like, it'd be nice to have, but not that nice. So it's one of those ones that, again, is on the back burner for when the times are good. And hopefully, the times are going to be good again soon, because I'd really kind of like to get that figure. From 5K Toys, appropriate for the Halloween spooky season, is this pumpkin head guy. Such a fun looking original character. I was just talking about not buying figures because I wasn't hugely invested in that character. But then we've got Pumpkinhead Dude with a machine gun and just like, I have no idea who you are, sir, but I would like you on my shelf. Because you know me, I love my Halloween iconography. I love my pumpkins and my spooky stuff, and this just looks so fun. He looks really cool, but again, he's expensive, but it's one of those ones where I would love to have, but I don't need to have. But just looking at those images, if ever I had like a super quiet month where I didn't buy anything, and I got to the end of the month and I was like, wow, wait, I'm gonna get another paycheck and I've got all this money left over. I think I gotta buy myself a pumpkin guy.
Treat yourself.
Now, being a massive RoboCop fan, the Modoroid Kane figure, which is kind of a model kit, but not too model-y apparently. It doesn't take too much skill to assemble. This really has my attention. The only reason I'm holding fire on it is because I'm, fingers crossed, hoping that Higher Toys are going to come through, because they're doing a 1/18th scale one. And they're saying we're doing some 1/12th as well. They have announced their 1/12th RoboCop. Put a little pre-order down for that. So fingers crossed we're going to get a Kane from Higher Toys in 1/12th scale. So that's why, even though I'm very tempted by this Modoroid one, I'm like, nope, Dave, hold fire, back off, show a little bit of patience, because you might be rewarded. And finally, going back to Damn Toys, and again talking about the art of action figures, we've got this futuristic snowman robot. Again, don't know what it is. There's no specific headcanon, but I just love it. I love Christmas iconography. I love the whole snowman look, made into a stop motion animation looking robot snowman puppet. It just hits all the right notes for me. It just makes me happy, you know? So it's another one. I've just rinsed and repeat for everything on this list. I like to have it, but the money is very expensive. So you're like, maybe on a good day, but it wouldn't even have to be a particularly good day to convince me to get this, because it looks so pretty, so cool. So I just wanted, cool, it's a snowman. This thing writes itself. So yes, that is the final item on my list of fingers? No, I've got enough fingers. Figures to treat yourself with. If ever you think to yourself, come on, dude, treat yourself. That's my list. But I want to know what's on your list. What figures are not essential to you, but you would kind of like always have on the back burner? Because I'm sure I'm not alone in this. I've got all my back burner figures. You just heard about them. I want to hear from you. What figures are you not buying that you kind of want? And why are you not buying them? What puts you off? What is it that you're like, I would roll the dice on that, but there's just something about it that's just keeping me from doing it. If it's something besides just the price. So guys, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.